The other one. We will be getting started in a few minutes. Thank you.
I don't think that's. Hey, Rachel, you want to get started? Or? Yes. Oh, thanks. I tried. That's okay. You tried. Hey, folks. I know, man. Good people. Yeah, so much. Yeah. Yep. All right. Ready for it? So hurry up. Well. Oh, here he goes.
Yeah, everybody. Thank you for joining us.
Meet you. And you as well. Yeah.
Oh, Harry. Yeah.
Oh, thank you.
Right. Exactly. That's a nice. Thank you. Thank you. Yes, that'd be good.
Yeah.
Yes, it is.
Yep. Anybody who is really involved in yeah.
Thank you. Good to see you. Good to see you.
Yeah, this is really fun. That's right. Yeah, that's fair. That's really
Either way, I'm just gonna start and I'll. Spoke to your story today and they read it. Their sons.
I'm
Ready to go.
gonna get started. Good afternoon, everybody. I'm Mark Gottlieb. I'm the Executive Director of the Public Health Advocacy Institute at Northeastern University School of Law. And I'm also proud to be a founding board member of Family and Friends of Gamblers, FFOG, along with my colleagues, Dr. Harry Levant, who's behind me, and Professor Dick Daynard, who is actually back in Boston teaching right now. Professor Daynard, after a half century of helping to lead the fight against the tobacco industry, felt something was missing in the growing public health movement around the recent explosion of online gambling. He asked, what about all of the non-gamblers who are being harmed as a result of their family and their friends' lives that are being destroyed right now by gambling addiction? We know that for every person who's suffering from gambling addiction, up to 10 people in their lives are directly harmed. But their voices have been missing from the national conversation. Professor Daynard knew that the others who are affected by a public health or a social problem can be a very powerful force for change. If you consider the enormously consequential Mothers Against Drunk Driving, or the impact of campaigns like the Campaign for Non-Smokers' Rights, Professor Daynard knew that something like FFOG could transform the social dialogue around the extraordinary explosion of online gambling. This membership organization will be a powerful voice in our national conversation. People can sign up at www.hurtbygambling.org, and there you'll find videos featuring some of today's speakers and a vision for FFOG. Soon we'll have a membership platform and a mobile app with daily gambling news feeds, and importantly, opportunities for members to be heard, to connect with journalists and policymakers, and help to lift the fog to counter the false image of gambling portrayed by the industry. Now I'd like to introduce you to my co-moderator today, Dr. Deborah Haskins. Dr. Haskins is a tenured retired associate professor of counseling at Trinity University, President Emerita of the Maryland Council on Problems Gambling, and an internationally certified gambling counselor and recognized leader for the past 3 decades in problem and disorder gambling. Welcome, Debbie.
Thank you, and thank you for being here, everyone. Before I became Dr. Haskins, I was a child born to a father who had a severe gambling problem that became addicted. That addiction changed the trajectory of my entire life for my mother and my 3 siblings. The good news is that he's not engaged in that addiction anymore. But once it happens, it's a trauma, not just for the person who's experiencing gambling harm, it's a trauma for the entire family. And for many, it can take decades to heal the devastation and the challenges that come out of that, emotionally, financially, spiritually, physically. I've spent the last 30 years advocating for families, first from a clinical perspective, while I provide them support in my offices, meeting them in the community, taking phone calls from mothers and fathers whose children are caught up in the cycle of gambling addiction that started out as entertainment but became much more. And those years, we didn't even have resources. Even now, we still lack resources, and we lack federal funding, for example, for many. And it depends what zip code you live in, you might get access if you're an infected owner. So I want to highlight that this is an extremely important movement, because there are many who, like my family, my mother, my siblings, and others, who suffered in silence. And I only became aware of the challenge and the reality of the history about 15 years ago. That just gives you an idea of the silence that families are battling and struggling with. So it is my honor to introduce our next speaker, Congressman Tonko. Representative.
Oh, yeah.
During his more than 15 years in the House representing his constituents in New York, Paul Tonko has shown his dedication to addressing addiction and mental health. He has been a leader in recognizing the harm that underrepresented, unregulated gambling is causing and the acute risk that it poses. He sponsored the Safe Bet Act in the House, and we are honored to have him with us here today to help launch the Family and Friends of Gamblers today.
Well, we begin by thanking Dr. Debbie Haskins, Mark Gottlieb, and Harry Levant for the work that they do in addressing the gambling addiction. It's so important to have their work reach us as public policy makers. We also greet my friend and colleague in the other house, Senator Blumenthal, who is carrying our bill in the Senate. Together, we're determined to make this a successful journey because it's essential that it is. Some have said to me, this is a difficult journey you're on. It doesn't matter if it's difficult. It's appropriate. It's just. It's fair. It needs to be done. And finally, let me give my greatest applause to those surrounding me, people here who are willing to share a painful story, one that has drawn a lot of consequence for their family, but it also shows a lot of courage. Courage by their loved ones, courage by those who have come here to make a difference, others who have experienced tremendous loss and want to make certain that this loss doesn't fall upon other families. So I am excited, I'm encouraged, and I'm honored that I'm with a group that is launching FFOG. A long time coming so that people can hear the stories. The most powerful tool we have in government is storytelling. And FFOG will unite those stories, enable people to therapeutically walk their journey and hope to make a difference. So my thanks to all that have assembled here. And thank you all for being here today to give voice to many across our nation who are struggling with gambling addiction. You know, for some, I think gambling is seen as an acceptable addiction, a kinder, less dangerous addiction. Nothing could be farther from the truth. I'm proud to work to better the lives of those struggling with the disease of addiction. As co-chair of the Congressional Addiction Treatment and Recovery Caucus, I have fought hard to expand access to mental health and substance use care and led the fight to address opioid addiction and to tear down barriers to the life-saving medications that can combat that crisis. I've also seen the bravery, strength, and conviction of individuals following the path to recovery and seen the love and dedication from family members and loved ones who have been with them on every step of their journey. I know the importance of ensuring these individuals have the support and, yes, the resources they need. And I know the suffering that can be caused if we fail to provide that support and turn a blind eye to those living with the disease of addiction. That's why we're here today, to open the public eyes and Congress's eyes to a public health crisis unfolding before us as we speak, one that is already having lasting and devastating impacts on communities. We know this disease is not just the individual impacted, it's a family disease, it's a community disease. It affects our loved ones in every dimension. Since the 2018 Supreme Court decision, 2018, not so long ago, that decision that allowed sport betting to become legalized, the sportsbook industry has been operating in a Wild West, largely unregulated environment. You can clearly see this in the wall-to-wall advertisements that are simply impossible to escape. You see it anytime you watch a sporting event or are scrolling through social media. States have bought into the added revenue and major sports leagues have embraced the very sports book they protested against earlier in time. It's impossible to ignore the similarities between sports books today and the big tobacco efforts of decades earlier. Instead of ads with doctors recommending cigarettes, it's celebrities teaching viewers how to bet and ESPN broadcasters announcing betting odds and parlays on sporting events. These actions have consequences, deep consequences. Recently, more than 1 in 5 Americans said they bet on sports at least once a month, an 80% increase over the number who reported betting with that same frequency the year prior. It's estimated that 7 million people have a gambling problem in the US, though that number is likely to be much higher because that's a conservative estimate. On top of this, children and young people are the fastest growing demographic of gamblers, with between 60 to 80% of high school students reporting that they have gambled for money. Most strikingly, it is estimated that 1 in 5 people with a gambling addiction will attempt suicide. In short, we are dealing with a massive and growing public health crisis involving a known addictive product. Our efforts here to make that known addictive product a safer product. For over 10 years, gambling has been recognized as an addictive product, and gambling disorder as an addiction akin to heroin, opioid, tobacco, alcohol, and cocaine use. Gambling can lead to bankruptcy, to job loss, to homelessness, to mental health conditions such as anxiety, depression, and attempted and completed suicide. Today, years of pain, this disease can wreak on just an individual, but also on their universe of friends and family and community. I am deeply grateful to all who have come here today to share their stories. Thank you for your courage and thank you for determination to make a difference in the lives of families across this country. The least we owe to them is to commit to doing all in our power to prevent any more tragedies caused by the rampant, unfettered explosion of sports gambling across our nation. That's my commitment here today, to continue to push my colleagues to join us in advancing legislation that protects public health by establishing baseline federal safety standards on sports gambling. I am grateful to Senator Blumenthal for being the leader in the Senate on this effort. Legislation that, like my Safe Bet Act, which would create nationwide consumer protections and standards, the mobile sports gambling industry. It would address the public health implications resulting from the widespread legalization of sports betting in the United States by requiring states offering sports betting to meet minimum federal standards in the categories of marketing, of affordability, and of artificial intelligence to create a safer, less addictive product. So with that, I wish FFOG the best of success. Your success will be our nation's success. Your storytelling will motivate, inspire, encourage, direct us as members of Congress to do the right thing, the just thing, and to provide for a safe environment as we go forward. Thank you so much.
Yes, I will. Senator Richard Blumenthal understands what is wrong with the way online gambling is regulated and has proposed some solutions. For decades, he's worked to hold corporations that hurt people to account. As a prosecutor, as a longtime Attorney General of Connecticut, and now in his second decade as a U.S. Senator, it's my honor to introduce Senator Richard Blumenthal as a supporter of FFOG.
Thank you. Thank you. I'm really honored and proud to stand with Paul Tonko, who's such a champion, a fearless leader in the United States Congress. And believe me, it takes courage and fearlessness to stand up to this industry. Let's not mince any words here. Sports betting is spreading its tentacles throughout American society, most particularly in athletics itself. The leagues are becoming partners, indeed complicit in the sports betting industry. They have financial stakes. They are more and more beholden to sports betting companies in partnerships with them. And they are powerful. As a prosecutor, I always had to follow the money. We're talking here about money. Let's be absolutely clear. It's not about entertainment. People love sport. It is entertaining. You don't need to gamble to enjoy sports. Sports betting is about money and about the sports betting industry exploiting the vulnerabilities of people who become addicted. And the twin dangers here are addiction and corruption. You just see in criminal indictments the ugly face of corruption, but it's only the tip of the iceberg. What we've seen in indictments is only a piece of the evil corruption that is infecting this industry and needs to be rooted out and stopped. But the human impact of addiction is absolutely heartbreaking. Addiction is not victims. When there are bankruptcies or domestic violence or job loss or marriage breakup or mental health crises that result in suicide, the ripple effect is on children in those families, on creditors, to the businesses that go bankrupt, to the kind of financial and emotional ruin that can break apart families. The effects of addiction ripple throughout society and are felt by people who become victims even when they are not directly involved. So what we're doing here really is attempting to put some safeguards in place, not ban gambling. Please do not misinterpret. We're not trying to prohibit sports gambling. What we're trying to do is establish some safeguards against the technological advances that can be used to exploit those vulnerabilities that certain people have. And I'm talking about AI. Artificial intelligence has become the all-purpose tool of sports betting so that pitches and promotions can target individuals and know within seconds about what kinds of bets an individual is likely to make. It can encourage people to invest more even when they are losing, to bet more and follow their losses down an addictive rabbit hole. And AI targeting individuals with specific promotions, the micro bets on how many pitches will be thrown, how many interceptions there will be, how many baskets will be made. All of those micro bets offer tantalizing and enticing prospects for the pitches and promotions that are targeted through the use of AI. And technology is enabling sports betting companies to make more money and make more people victims of addiction. I sued the tobacco company. I helped to lead the Attorney General throughout the United States in legal action against the tobacco company because they were lying. Same as true of sports betting. They are lying if they deny there is an addiction problem. And their pitches and promotions are no different in basic kind than the pitches made by tobacco companies to kids. They are taking advantage of power and money to spread addiction and enable corruption in this country. So I challenge the sports betting industry. If you really believe that you're on the right side of the public interest, join us in supporting the Safe Bet Act. I challenge the sports betting industry to do the right thing. Support the Safe Bet Act so that AI's impact will be tempered and restricted, so that these advertisements will be done only within certain times of the day and not during a live sporting event. Join us in supporting the use of federal funds for supporting treatment and other kinds of measures to address this addiction. And finally, I want to thank Harry Levant for his leadership, to all of the families who are here today, to all of the individuals who have the courage and strength to step forward. Thank you for your leadership. You are the faces and voices that will make it possible for us to pass the Safe Bet Act to Harry, to Declan Hill, and most importantly, to my partner, Paul Tonko.
Thank you, Senator. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Senator. I am Dr. Harry Levant, Director of Gambling Policy, Public Health Advocacy Institute at Northeastern University School of Law. I'm also the founding members, board of directors, family and friends of gamblers. We're here today to lift the fog. Fog that the gambling industry has placed over people of the United States by unleashing a fundamentally different and inherently dangerous gambling product. We are in the midst of a public health crisis. And very briefly, I want to speak to 4 groups on behalf of FFOG, on behalf of family and friends of gamblers. First, let's speak to the gambling industry. Recently, President of the American Gaming Association, Phil Miller, went on national television and denied science fiction. Worse still, a smile on his face on behalf of the gambling industry, Mr. Miller suggested to the American people that very, very few people are harmed by gambling. I say this, the American Gaming Association and the industry. Look at the faces behind me right now. These are the grandparents and the parents and the children and the siblings and the friends and the family of gamblers. There are millions of people across this country who are suffering harm because of online gambling, not gamblers themselves, but the family and friends. So to an industry that smiles and says there isn't a problem, the family and friends of gamblers are here to lift. Next, I speak to the commissioners of all of the professional sports leagues and to Governor Baker at the NCAA. I do not know what you were thinking when you sold your statistics to the gambling industry to create micro betting and same game parlays. It may have just been a money grab and you didn't know. But now you are on notice that your products are causing harm. And sports, as Congressman Tonko and Senator Blumenthal have often said, belong to the American public and the American family. Commissioners, each of you have sold your product to the gambling industry and the public is hurting. There is still time for you to join us. We can fix this. I urge you to hear us. However, if you don't join us, the fog is lifting and family and friends of gamblers are here and we are going to bring change. Next, I speak to and thank Senator Blumenthal, Congressman Tonko, and elected leaders in states across the country, including New Jersey and New York, and Maryland, and Minnesota, and my home state of Massachusetts, where state elected officials are stepping forward with reform bills because we can make this safer and least. And lastly, and most importantly, on behalf of the families we will be speaking to you today, I say to all of you out there, family and friends of others, we are here for you. FFOG is your organization. We will remove the stigma. We will make it safe for you to come forward. Come join this movement. Because we can make this safer. We must make this safer. Your stories matter. Your pain matters. FFOG is here for you. HurtByGambling.org. Please join our movement. And with that, I'd like to bring up Jacqueline Irving.
Next month, my son Zeta should have been celebrating his 30th birthday, but we will not be able to celebrate this or any future birthday. I lost my son to suicide last week. I had no indication at a time that he was in a place where he would suddenly take his own life. I did not know until after his death that he had lost thousands of his own hard-earned money. Although we spoke at least once or twice a week, and I would spend the previous holiday before his death. It was kept secret from him that an online sports gambling problem was taking over his life and mine. Many people are already aware that driven by the smartphone in everyone's pocket, online gambling has rapidly increased in popularity, especially with young men. Most are not aware of the insidious ways the sports gambling industry uses this tech to collect personal data. Getting access to an individual's betting tendencies, the industry cultivates and then fuels addiction, directly targeting, above all, those it identifies early on as emerging problems. Horrified as I examined my son's phone after his death, I saw firsthand how sports gambling operators offer free box seat tickets to purely live sports events. Personalized texts from a, in quotes, VIP host also offered them, in quotes, free couple $100 amounts of gambling money to ensure he remained actively engaged with multiple sports gambling apps on his phone. Many think this activity must be benign because we consider sports as healthy activities. Like many, my family and I encouraged my son to play and watch the various sports he showed interest in from an early age: soccer, hockey, basketball, among others. Sports gamblers often delude themselves when they do it, but they're drawing on quick skill, their acquired knowledge of healthy recreational activities. The gambling industry knows and exploits all of it. Until he became ensnared by online sports gambling apps, my son had saved considerable amounts of his earnings in the 7 years since graduating. Digging for answers, I analyzed my son's phone after his death, discovering too late the increasingly frenzied sports gambling inflow and outflow activity in his account. Opponents of online gambling may argue that Americans should be free to choose how they spend their time and earnings. My son and the others behind me with money and perhaps in many cases out their lives were taken away, lived their lives in freedom, once ensnared by the city vows.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you, Jacqueline. I'm so grateful for you. That's important to introduce Margo and the grid. The burden on parents that are focused by the high-speed sign stop action of young people by the online gambling industry cannot be understated. Like so many parents, Margo and Greg Rothman have been living with the challenge of an adult son seriously struggling with sports gambling. Thanks.
Here today, step out of the silence of pain, embarrassment, and loudly and bring it to the public that not only impacts working with gambling, but significantly impacts the loved ones of our side with the in with gambling, but we thought it was part of college culture, specifically advice for enabling addiction. Quickly realize this behavior is not a phase, but part of a larger systemic. This behavior is an addiction. We knew nothing about addiction. The anger, the pain, the misunderstanding of addiction has put us on an unexpected path to support our son in his own successful recovery, but also do whatever it takes to make sure the loved ones or will hurt again have a voice that comfort us the devastation and free as on more than just the individual. It impacts others, fathers, wives, grandparents, aunts, uncles, cousins, friends, coworkers, anyone who has a significant relationship with a person who has a gambling addiction. We must have space for all of us to come together and break our silence. The devastation is very real. And we are here today to make ourselves vulnerable so others can know they are not alone. We understand the pain We understand the anger. We want to channel those feelings of devastation, make a difference.
Online sports betting operators like DraftKings and FanDuel, thousands of people are focused on giving their son and others who are struggling with gambling addiction harder. That is just one tactic to engage clients. They see are struggling and addiction based on their positive betting habits. They also constantly bombard them with AI-generated case numbers and other digital tactics to knock them out any resistance of recovery yet engaged. Imagine if the alcohol beverage had a list of people struggling with alcohol and they had unannounced to drink the can. That is what we're allowed by not putting sensible regulation, very addictive, that is available 24/7 via the phone in your hand. Research suggests an estimated 5 million Americans already meet the clinical criteria for compulsive gambling. Given that each high-risk gambler negatively impacts up to 10 others, on the order of 50 million Americans are now experiencing effects of problems. In the 1960s, many celebrities participated in cigarette advertisements. They and the majority of the US population at the time did not realize the impact of this highly addictive product. Fortunately, sensible regulations put in place public awareness campaigns and educated Americans. Today, celebrities are actively promoting online sports gaming. I implore the other 50 million Americans suffering like us due to this public health crisis to join FFOG so together we can help reduce movement to get sensible regulations in place, public health awareness campaigns. Thank you.
Professor Declan Biehl is one of the foremost experts on how gambling and crime have corrupted and continue to corrupt sports. He also understands damage it causes to families. Declan Biehl.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's silent plague. It's a disease that very few dare mention its name. It's sweeping across American sports. US sports people, athletes, and coaches are heavily addicted to sports gambling, and very few people are speaking about it. In the last few years, US sports leagues have walked into a long, dark corridor with unregulated, badly organized sports gambling. It is a dance with the devil. From my doctoral work at the University of Oxford, from my research at the University of New Haven, from my international best-selling books, I've traveled around the world and I've seen the challenges that sports integrity faced with this kind of addiction face. I walked a long, dark corridor in Budapest, Hungary. Same long, dark corridor that Robert Frosty, professional soccer coach, in charge of the, quote, fight against match fixing, had run. There's only one doorway in that long, dark corridor. He had somehow been implicated in the scandal. He opened the door and he threw himself off the top of that boat. If it were just his suicide, but I've seen countless others in South Korea saying that the son of the players drove to the same thing. If it were just suicide, we would have a problem in America. But there's murder, there's threats, monsters linked to this life gambling addiction of our athletes. In Belgium, I interviewed a young former national team goalkeeper, and his father, who was a policeman, was weeping, tears running down his face, as his son, the kid who had driven to soccer practice, talked about being threatened by the mob with guns, and his eventual arrest and then conviction at match fixing. In America, in the last few months, we've seen MLB, NBA, NCAA players arrested. And at the heart of all those scandals is gambling addiction of athletes and coaches, and it is time to stop it. if gambling addiction, as the people behind me know far, far better than us, doesn't just stop with the athletes and the coaches. It hurts the people, it hurts their friends, it hurts their families, it destroys the trust. 2 days ago, there was yet another girlfriend allegedly dating a gambling addict NHL player. It must stop. So I would make a controversial argument today that the victims of gambling addiction of our players and our coaches doesn't stop with people behind me. It is the very public, the very people who adore American sports. If you're watching a game and you think, is this the glorious uncertainty of sport? Or is this some theater designed by gambling mobsters and their addicted athletes? The joy of sport is dead. Ladies and gentlemen, that's why I'm here. I've seen what it does around the world. I've seen the silence, the gambling addiction of athletes and coaches. I'm not arguing against a legal, well-regulated sports gambling industry. I'm arguing for it. I want a well-regulated sports gambling industry. It is our moment. You as journalists, it's time for you to stand up. It's time for you to break the silence and fight for U.S. sports. Fight for those young athletes and coaches that become addicted. Fight for the friends and families of the gamblers who have been so desperately hurt. It's time to break silence. Thank you.
Thank you. And gambling, as you're hearing, a lot of stories. It's more betting, it's casino betting, lottery tickets, it's community-based gambling. There's a lot of different faces to gambling. Next, we still wanted to talk about how he serves as the executive director of the New Jersey Council for Compulsive Gambling. He has seen so much gambling harm as first host to its residents. And so I want to thank Luis for coming and share impacts to the community as well. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. We're so very glad. Myself and my colleagues were here from the Council of Compulsive Gambling of New Jersey. My name is Luis Orbe, and I am the Executive Director of CCG&J. We at CCG&J are very much aware of the harms caused by gambling disorders. Millions of people are suffering from this treatable disease. However, we have to keep in mind that for every single individual that suffers with this disorder, tens of millions are suffering with that. This is not an individual disease. This is not a family disease. This is a community disease. It affects so many people. This is why we're here in support of FFOG, family and friends of gamblers. We know the families that are suffering. Listen, we personally speak to family who have been affected by gambling disorder. We know the frustration, the anger, the despair, how they feel incompetent with being able to help their loved one. It comes to a point where they themselves start blaming themselves. They believe that it's their fault. And these individuals, these tens of millions, are suffering in silence. This is why we're so grateful and we support FFOG, because it gives these individuals a voice. It gives them a safe place where they can go and voice their frustration, where they can go and voice what they're feeling, their helplessness. This is not just about money. Gambling and those individuals who suffer with gambling disorder is not about money. We have to keep in mind that gambling has the highest suicide rate of any other addiction. This is a public health issue that must be addressed. We at CCG&J, we're not for nor we're against gambling, but we exist because we know so many are going to be affected by gambling. We know that so many are going to suffer. Their communities are going to suffer. They're going to have broken relationships. They're not going to be able to live a productive life. And this is why we're here. And this is why we're here to support organizations such as FFOG. We appreciate the work that they're doing, and we appreciate the voice that they give those families. And we're here to support in any kind of way we can. We're here now, we'll be here tomorrow, and we'll be here as long as this continues, because we've seen the landscape. We've seen the landscape, and we can know where it's going. Believe me, it's not a safe place where we're going when it comes to gambling. So we do hope that FFOG and organizations such as FFOG do bring out the support, the community support, the legislative support that they need to bring regulations and procedures that are going to make this activity safe for people. Thank you.
Gordon and Lisa Douglas came very close to losing their son, Andrew, to online sports gambling. They've stood right here and shared their story. With FFOG, their voices will be heard along with, I believe, tens of thousands of parents, siblings, and friends who are watching as gambling ruins the lives of the people they care about most and desperately want to help. Gordon and Lisa.
Thank you, Mark. I appreciate that. And I want to thank Mark and Dr. Harry Levant and the work they're doing through the Public Health Advocacy Institute in creating this new organization, Family and Friends of Gamblers. I think it's going to be very powerful. Like he said, my name is Gordon Douglas, and this is my wife, Lisa.
We are really honored to be here today with these other families and to celebrate the grassroots effort of FFOG and what it stands for and what it's going to mean for people like us.
Yes. So you might have heard our personal story. We've shared it in various settings. We brought into this fight circumstances that were very difficult for our son and for our family. Our son Andrew has been outspoken about his gambling issues, and he has worked really hard to turn his life around. We're thankful for his hard work and the work of those that have supported him in his recovery. He wants to help educate and warn others about the dangers of these addictive products being offered by so many platforms in so many places. Today, we're here to support this new grassroots movement to bring attention to the impact that this addiction can have on families. I've told you before that we're just a normal middle-class family that didn't understand the way that these gambling offerings can reach out and grab hold of a person. Our family has been impacted financially, emotionally, relationally, in such a way that we are still recovering. I know that there are many, many others also facing these issues and trying to stand against them. We're very appreciative of the support of Harry Levant and the Public Health Advocacy Institute. They are doing a mighty work trying to get the word out, but they cannot do this on their own. We support FFOG, and I think that it is critical that this movement grow nationwide so that families can be educated and supported. We have attended support groups that were helpful in working with others who are going through similar situations. It is helpful to fight this fight together. It will take all of us. This new organization, FFOG, will help bring awareness to those going through it and hopefully keep some from having to go through it. I would like to urge everyone who hears this message to support it, join it, and help it reach its full potential. Thank you.
Thank you, Douglas family. It takes tremendous courage to come in public and share with you. Thank you. And next, I would like to introduce another youth, Joseph Biehl, who has suffered at this time, also became deeply entangled with the micro betting and in-game parlays that the online sports books aggressively market to young men, particularly ages 18 to 34, receiving the risky gambler profile. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Haskins, and thank you, Dr. Levant, for everything they've done. Let me tell you a little story. A year ago, our son woke us up in the middle of the night. Told us he has a problem. It wasn't drugs, wasn't alcohol, it was gambling. We had no idea what to do. How do you react? We had no idea. He's currently 28 years old. He was gambling online for 10 years. That's being targeted. He was a teenager. So started out as innocent, $5 here, $5 there. But over time, he wound up that he told me he won and lost over $500,000. That is a low estimate. Got so bad, he was betting on the number of runs scored in a 15-year-old baseball game in Taiwan. 30 of them. He was chasing his losses. Better yet, he was just looking for the thrill of the bet. We searched our souls to figure out, how did this happen? He always had money. He had summer jobs. He had a job all the time, but he never had the money. He never knew where it went. So it never got to the point that he was stealing money from friends or family. We were lucky that he came to us in time that told us that he had a problem. We had no idea what to do with that. The only thing we did is we said, we're going to monitor his bank accounts. We're going to monitor his credit cards. We're going to do all these other things to keep an eye on. That didn't work. That never works. So we were not equipped how to handle the situation. So there were setbacks throughout the whole recovery process. And the setbacks, break the trust that was built during the recovery process. About 6 months into the recovery, I called him just to see how he's doing, but really to apologize. So I had no idea how this happened. And I wasn't there to help him through. For 10 years, I wasn't there. So what he told me next, broke. I said, Dad, nobody. That's why it's a silent addiction. Nobody knows these things. So I really glad for the Safe Betting Act going through the process. It's very important. But it's hard for somebody recovering to go through this when they're being bombarded every 2 minutes when you're watching a professional sports game, college game, on, hey, this is the next bet you can make, or a text, phone call. Hey, where you been? We haven't had a bet from you. So those things aren't right. That is devastating to the individual, devastating to the family of the individual, and everyone. We're better than that. That's why we really need to say something. Almost a year since they bet. Did this for therapy? Did happen without the help of his girlfriend? Did the research, found the right therapist, found the right group, found everything. That's fantastic. Now, what we need is a system to help that support system. And that's what FFOG is about. That's why I'm a big supporter of what's going on here. Thank you.
Congressman Tonko to step up for a moment. Share it. And Congressman Tonko joined me, the treatment group, to meet with my patients. I'm privileged every day to work with people who are struggling and fighting to overcome gambling disorder. Congressman Tonko spent 3 hours with my patients listening to their stories. And what the congressman said to me after that meeting, most stormy families. And sometimes we need vision of just how important this is. I have for you in my hand a Twitter X post and a football team, the Carolina Panthers, posted on Sunday morning, urging their fans to bet on the over-under. That's how out of control this has become. I would like Congressman Tonko to tell you for just a moment how impacted he was when he listened to the stories now it's happening to the Democrats, because that's why FFOG is absurd.
Well, thank you, Harry, and I certainly wish great success to FFOG. Your success will be a successful step forward for this nation. To all behind who have understood the pain and consequence and loss that can come, loss of life that can come with the gambling addiction. We're in this on a tough journey, but we're going to make certain we complete the journey and go past the finish line. It's so important. When I sat with Harry's team and listened to the testimony delivered by so many struggling with their addiction, I was reminded that lives were saved, that their career was encouraged, that their completion toward a degree happened because the counseling and the help they received with their addiction. I listened to young men and young women talking about the impact being targeted by an industry. This is really powerful. And to come back and have this counterforce of FFOG standing here with people who are so willing to share their stories. My hope is that very much peace and comfort and success comes with this journey of FFOG for the folks that have stepped forward to join in the attempt to educate, inform, and encourage organizing. Not agonize, organize. Let me close with a constituent story in my district. A person 30 years in recovery, 30 years of recovery from gambling. And he looked for the closest casino, closest OTB network, closest track. What has changed, he said, is really, really compelling me to encourage you to do something. Why, I said because they have the casino in their hand 24/7. There's not only the opportunity to gamble, it's the encouragement in this casino to gamble. They're targeted over and over and over again to do their thing. And that thing is now draining their resources, draining their quality of life, and driving them to a cliff. I wish FFOG the best as they go forward, and we'll work together with this organization to make certain that the legislative journey is one that speaks to quality of life, to saving of life, and to making a difference, to put guardrails and restrictions on a known addictive product and we believe needs to be made a safer product. With that, I thank everyone behind me and all that are going to make a difference. Thank you. Any questions on this topic from our media? We've got the great experts here and people who can speak forthrightly.
And we'll be available after this session. We need to make room for the next group, and we'll be available for any questions with any of the gathered journalists and media here. Hurtbygambling.org. Hurtbygambling.org is the website. People can join this movement and be a part of it. And I honestly believe we're going to have tens of thousands of members in very short order. And thank everyone for their attention today. And we'll be seeing you. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
It's oh, thank you.
It said it's about. Thank you. Yeah, yeah, so yes.
Why is it happening already?
I know, right?
Sure. I've no doubt.
Right here.
Yes, that's Harry.
Hey.
I'm gonna stop.
I will certainly put a good word.
Right. No, no.